2,000 years ago, a man sat alone in a military tent at the edge of the Roman Empire. Outside, barbarian armies waited in the dark. Inside, he was not planning battle strategy. He was writing. Not to anyone, just to himself. Pages about money, about desire, about why most people destroy everything they build, not because of bad luck, but because of something far more invisible, something inside. That man was Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful person on the planet, commander of the greatest empire in human history, a man who could buy entire cities. And he was terrified. Not of war, not of death, but of becoming someone who needed wealth to feel whole. What he wrote in that tent is a complete framework for financial freedom, and almost nobody in the personal finance world has ever decoded it. Until now. Here's the strange truth no one talks about. Studies show that 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt within 5 years. 70%. More money than most people will ever see in a lifetime. Gone. In 5 years. And yet a school janitor named Ronald Redd quietly died in 2014 with over $8 million in savings. He drove a used Toyota. He wore clothes held together with safety pins, and when he died, he donated most of his fortune to a local library and hospital. Same world, same money, completely different outcome. The difference was never the numbers. It was never the salary, the inheritance, the market timing. It was something Marcus Aurelius spent his entire life trying to understand and master. It was identity. It was philosophy. It was the mind. Today, I am going to give you 4 Stoic principles that Marcus Aurelius used to think about wealth and show you exactly how to apply each one in your life right now in 2026. By the end of this video, you will have a complete framework you can use tomorrow morning. Let's begin. Principle number 1, Amor Fati. In Latin, it means love your fate. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart." Now, what does this have to do with money? Everything. Most people have a deeply hostile relationship with their current financial situation. They are ashamed of their debt. They are angry at their salary. They are bitter about their starting point. And that hostility, that constant internal war with where you are right now, is exactly what keeps you stuck. Here's the Stoic insight. You cannot build from a foundation you refuse to look at. Amor Fati does not mean giving up. It does not mean saying, I accept being broke forever. It means I look at my numbers clearly, without shame, without drama, without emotional hijacking. I see exactly where I am. And from this exact spot, I begin. The practical tool Marcus would use today, every morning, and I mean every single morning, open your banking app. Look at your balance. Look at your debt. Look at your net worth. Do not react emotionally. Just observe. Write down one number, your net worth today. It does not need to be impressive. It needs to be moving in the right direction. This is called the Stoic Daily Audit. 5 minutes, every morning, no emotion, just data. Within 60 days, this single habit will change your relationship with money more profoundly than any budgeting app ever could. Principle number 2, Memento Mori. Remember, you will die. I know not exactly what you expected from a wealth video, but stay with me. Roman generals, when they returned from victory, would have a servant walk behind them in the parade, whispering in their ear, Memento Mori. Remember, you will die. Not as cruelty, as clarity. Because nothing resets your priorities like the honest awareness that your time here is finite. Here is what this means for your money. Most people spend 30 years chasing a financial identity that was never actually theirs. They buy the car because it signals status. They take the job because it sounds impressive at dinner parties. They save for retirement in a life they don't actually want to live. And then, at 65, they sit down, look at their life, and realize they optimized for someone else's definition of success. The Stoics called this the greatest financial mistake a person can make. The practical tool. I want you to do what I call the deathbed portfolio exercise. Take a piece of paper. Write down 3 things money cannot buy that you actually want. Not things you think you should want. Not things that would impress other people. Things you actually want. Maybe it is time. Maybe it is freedom from a specific obligation. Maybe it is the ability to create something. Now, every financial decision you make this year must pass through this filter. Does this move me closer to those 3 things or further away? That filter alone will eliminate 80% of the financial noise in your life. This is where most people stop watching. The next principle is the one that actually changes everything. Principle number 3, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who was born a slave and died one of the most respected men in Rome, wrote, "Some things are in our control, others are not." That's it. That is the entire framework. But most people have this completely backward when it comes to money. They obsess over things outside their control, the stock market crashing, inflation rising, the economy shifting, interest rates moving, and they ignore the only things that actually matter: their habits, their decisions, their identity, their daily behavior. Here is the most practical financial tool I can give you from Stoic philosophy. I call it the 2-column morning filter. Every morning, when you face any financial decision, a new subscription, an investment, a purchase, a job offer, draw a line down the center of a page. Left column, things I control. Right column, things I don't control. Only act on the left column. Market going down. Right column, do nothing. Your savings rate this month. Left column, act immediately. Inflation rate. Right column, accept it. Whether you check your spending today, left column, do it. The Stoic investor does not panic, does not chase trends, does not react to headlines. The Stoic investor automates what they control: consistent monthly investment into low-cost index funds, and releases everything else. This is not passive. This is the most active discipline a person can practice with money. Principle number 4, and this one is the deepest. The ancient Greeks had 2 words for happiness: hedoni, the pleasure from things, from purchases, from status. This is where we get the word hedonism. And eudaimonia, the deep, lasting flourishing that comes from living in alignment with your values. Marcus Aurelius chose eudaimonia every single day. And here is what the data shows us 2,000 years later. Research on wealthy individuals consistently finds that beyond a certain income threshold, more consumption does not produce more satisfaction. But building toward meaning, building toward autonomy, building toward a life you designed, that compounds like interest forever. The practical application is what I call reverse lifestyle inflation. Most people when their income rises by 20%, raise their spending by 20%. The Stoic move: when your income rises by 20%, raise your investment rate by 15% and allow your lifestyle spending to increase by only 5%. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In 2026, craving more looks like upgrading your phone every year when last year's works perfectly, adding subscriptions you don't cancel, moving to a bigger apartment the moment your income allows it. Every one of these decisions feels like progress, but the Stoic sees them for what they are: a slow narrowing of your freedom. Practice this instead. Once a month, do what I call the Seneca spending audit. Look at every recurring expense in your life. For each one, ask one question: does this serve the life I described in my deathbed portfolio? Or does it serve someone else's image of who I should be? Cancel ruthlessly. Invest the difference. Watch your freedom grow. Let me now show you how these 4 principles become a complete daily system in your life. Morning acrosse, 5 minutes. Open your banking app. Look at your numbers without emotion. That is Amor Fati. That is your daily audit. Monthly, 30 minutes. Run the Seneca spending audit. Cancel one thing that serves ego, not freedom. Move that money to your index fund or emergency reserve. That is Eudaimonia in practice. Every financial decision, the 2-column filter. Write it down. Control versus no control. Act only on the left side. That is Epictetus working for you. And once a year, return to your deathbed portfolio. Read what you wrote. Ask yourself, am I still building toward this, or have I drifted? That is Memento Mori. That is the compass. 4 principles, 2,000 years old, and more relevant today than anything published in the last 10 years. The books I want you to read, displayed on screen right now, are not optional. Start with Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It is free online. Read 10 pages every morning before you open any financial news. Then read The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It is the modern translation of everything we just discussed. And if you want to go deeper, A Guide to the Good Life by William Irvine, the clearest bridge between ancient Stoicism and practical modern life. Return with me one last time to that tent at the edge of the empire. Marcus Aurelius did not write Meditations to be published. He never intended for anyone to read it. It was a private conversation, a man talking to himself, trying to stay honest, trying to stay clear in a world that was constantly trying to corrupt him. He was surrounded by wealth beyond imagination, and he wrote again and again, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He never needed to be the richest man. He already knew what the richest man in any era knows. The man with the most freedom is not the one with the most money. It is the one who needs the least to feel whole. Starting tomorrow morning, with a banking app and 5 quiet minutes, and the willingness to look at your numbers without flinching. Marcus Aurelius would call that courage. If this video changed something in how you think, then subscribe. Not because I need the numbers, but because next week we go even deeper. And trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next.